We are living in a moment when a man who is in the White House right now is a constitutional lawyer by trade and training, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, who was portrayed as a transformative figure in American politics, and is presiding over a global assassination program, is presiding over the most intense persecution and prosecution of whistleblowers in U.S. history, has used the Espionage Act more during his 2 terms in office than all of the presidencies in U.S. history combined since that act was signed into law in the early 1900s. This president, Obama, is viewed as this great liberal leader who had incredible support. And yet Dick Cheney, I imagine him fly fishing somewhere in Wyoming, having a good chuckle over how great this period has been for their agenda, for the agenda that John McCain would have never been able to implement, for the agenda that Mitt Romney would have never been able to implement. Barack Obama has used his credibility as a popular Democrat and a constitutional lawyer to seek to legitimize what amounts to a global assassination program. You know that every president since Gerald Ford has upheld an executive order that says that the United States does not assassinate people. And yet the U.S. Congress has not only avoided legislating that issue or defining the term assassination, but has actively refused to do so. And the reason is because if Congress actually defined assassination, if Congress actually said, okay, that's an executive order, and we're now going to translate that into law, it would mean that you would have 500+ lawmakers who would be also responsible for this policy. So instead of assassination, what we're told is that we're engaged in targeted killing. We're engaged in a high-value targeting campaign. No, no, no. What we are engaged in is a global hit squad program where we are the embodiment of what Richard Clarke, who was the counterterrorism czar under Clinton and then came over into the Bush era, he told Congress in a secret hearing shortly after 9/11 that the reason that Clinton didn't want to do all of the kinds of things that we're seeing right now is they didn't want to give the perception of running an Israeli-style assassination program. You fast forward to the present time, and we have a popular, liberal, democratic president who has basically said that it is legitimate for the United States to have a parallel judicial system whereby people are sentenced to death by a committee that meets on Terror Tuesday and puts people's terror statistics on what they call baseball cards, and it goes up the kill list chain of command, and at the top of that is the President of the United States, who acts in the spirit of an emperor and decides who will live and die on any given day because he says so. I want to know, with all the liberals who have supported this policy, and at one point it was 70% of self-described liberals said that they supported drone strikes abroad. I want to know how many of those people, when they hear the phrase President Donald Trump's kill list, are going to still believe in that principle. Because I'll tell you something, there's no such thing as a Democratic or Republican cruise missile. There's no such thing as a Democratic or Republican drone strike.